Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the K12 Sports Tech Vendor Spotlight on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's Spotlight guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, including K12 Sports Tech. Now, if you're new to the podcast, these are all companies I used as an AD. They're all great companies, and I strongly encourage you to check them out. So listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to K12 Sports Tech for sponsoring these vendor spotlights. K12 Sports Tech helps athletic directors and sport vendors connect through education and hands on consulting. Athletic directors are also encouraged to join the K12 Sports Tech AD Think and help shape how athletic vendors shape their tech to better serve ADs. To get started, just go to k12sportstech.com. That's it, k12sportstech.com. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results. Their clearance and eligibility platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com for more information. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thank you to Athletic Surveys and encourage you to go to their website so they can create a custom survey that's going to let you take the pulse of everybody in your program. At my school, we use surveys for student athletes, for coaches, for parents, and it was a tremendous tool. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record board or your school's Hall of Fame, go to their website, take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? The website is Athletic Surveys. The website is Vital Signs, vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. If you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. No more being disappointed after weeks and weeks of spending time. We use Snap Raise at our school, and it was fantastic. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. It works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. Let's also say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program. And the cool thing is, while you're earning your degree, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Let's also say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. Our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just love the platform. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. It's probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an AD. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. Let's also say thanks to Hometown. Hometown's changing the game for schools and organizations with their solutions that include things like, well, digital ticketing, athletic website construction, fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more. Whether you're a principal, an athletic director, or a head coach, Hometown's going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. That's hometown.com. And we want to thank Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team help you become a social media marketing guru. Maybe it's a simple social media post to celebrate a win, or it could be an entire newsletter to showcase all the great work your athletic department is doing. Gipper provides the tools and the instruction to get you up and going, to tell your story, engage your audience, and continue to grow your brand. The website is Gipper.com. Check it out today, and don't forget to mention the podcast. That's Gipper.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD and our partnership with K12 Sports Tech. Longtime listeners, you've heard our AD Think Tank segments where members of the K12 Sports Tech AD Think Tank will join and talk about their experience. And of course, we encourage you to, if you're not a member already, sign up and join the think tank. Another part of the K12 Sports Tech platform is their vendor directory. And I'm telling you, as somebody who put 41 years into teaching, coaching, and being an AD, I wish this was around when I was an athletic director. You're going to hear more about the directory, but also, this is our very first segment where we're calling it the Vendor Spotlight. We've got Rich Hardt, who is from Helmet Tracker, tremendous company. He's going to tell us a little bit about the platform, how it got started, and why you should be using it. We're also joined by two, athletic professionals. John Wiley, he's the director of athletics at the Overlake School up in the great state of Washington. Longtime listeners of the podcast will remember John's full interview. That was during season 3. If you happen to miss it, go back to our archives on Spotify or YouTube and check it out. It was a great interview. And we're also joined by Alisha Gold from the Overlake School Athletic Department. I guess she's the expert on all things helmet tracker at Overlake. So, Rich, let's start with you real quick. Welcome to the Vendor Spotlight on the Educational AD podcast.
All right. Well, thanks, Jake, and welcome also John and Alisha. I'll see you guys again. Um, well, my name is Richard. I'm one of the owners of Helmet Tracker, and I know our name's a little misleading sometimes because we do a lot more than just track football helmets. We are basically a sports technology company, primarily software, and we focus on the inventory management and tracking of all equipment for schools. And that's usually from youth leagues all the way through professional teams. Our biggest market, though, is really this kind of the high school market, and we tend to focus a lot there on our efforts. We've been around for 13 years now, and we make I know we've had ups and downs. We've worked with the NFL I think we did a big pilot with them for 4 years where we were tracking every helmet, every shoulder pad as the players walked onto the fields for every game. And that was kind of a fun challenge. We work closely with reconditioners and manufacturers of sports equipment. Some of them use our software to manage their operations. So we're not just an inventory packages for school, but we're also kind of embedded in the overall industry. And I could say today that over 4 million football helmets carry our technology inside their helmets. So, the schools may realize it or not, but we work closely with Noxie, which is one of our largest customers, and we manage the national football helmet database for them. And so we're just kind of trying to tie all the kind of the dots together and kind of make this work for high school kids and for high schools in general. So.
Yeah, it's a great platform, and I want to take a deeper dive on it. But let's talk about Rich Hart. As I like to say, give us your life story in 2 minutes. What's your background?
I kind of grew up as in the technology space. I was kind of a computer science, math major type of guy in college, and worked in the transportation logistics industry most of my life. The last 13 years, I said we've been kind of building a software company. I've been in the management side of the software, so I kind of know what a lot of the ADs deal with in terms of purchasing or selecting software, and kind of dealing with that. My inventory of vendors were about 500, so we had a pretty big budget in managing the scope of all that and trying to figure out what technologies make sense for the organization. So, and then just tracking things, right? So I worked on technologies from GPS technologies back when it first became available, tracking. I hate to say this, but we were tracking satellites, the tracking for tugboats in up and down the Mississippi River, which is kind of an interesting twist. But no, I've just been a technology guy most of my career. I'm not a traditional sales guy, so just focus on growth here, but just working with schools and try to help them solve their problem with the technology and their inventory issues they have today.
Oh, I love all that tech aspect. We're gonna have to look at that on a different episode. But I mean, personally, I like to say for myself, injuries and a lack of talent kept me out of the NFL. What was your sports experience growing up? What were you passionate about? Middle school, high school, even college?
Primarily, I was a big baseball kid. and then switched over to football in about sixth grade, sixth grade. Kind of did both for a while, and then ended up playing football. So I was kind of a middle linebacker, and so I played through high school, and then realized that that's not going to fund my life. So I kind of switched over to college and um, start focusing more on the studies and kind of get a job out there that will kind of keep me going for the rest of my life. So.
Oh no, I just love to hear the stories. John, let's go ahead and we'll start with you, and then we'll let you be the opening act for Alicia. Share with our listeners. You've been on the podcast before, but
Yep.
what was your background growing up? Middle school, high school, and beyond.
Sure. Born and raised out here in Seattle, Washington, and I actually found myself going to the school to this school to Overlake in high school. If you had told me I was going to return to Overlake, I'd tell you you're crazy. I'm not going to go work at my old high school. No way. But I had a great experience. Went off to college in the Midwest, came back, started working in the NBA. I worked for the Seattle Supersonics. RIP to the Sonics, but got some great years there, and then realized I didn't have to be on the professional side of it, and I started coaching basketball, and that led to an opening at my old high school, and from there, a couple of years as a varsity head, and then it fell into place. There was a job for the AD. I didn't know what I was getting into. That was 31 years ago. Here I am, still standing, but loved it. I played basketball and baseball growing up. And certainly, I think every year I appreciate this position more and more.
Oh wow! Well, as you know, as somebody who grew up in that area and cheered for the Portland Trailblazers just down I-5 there, I remember those Trailblazers Sonic battles. And here's a great trivia question. You probably know this. One of the greatest Seattle Supersonics of all time is still playing today. Okay, you know that answer, right?
Oh, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, absolutely.
Let's
People don't
go.
remember that. Okay. All right. Alicia, share with our listeners a little bit about your sports background, and then we're going to jump right into you. How do you use the helmet tracker, or I guess equipment ops platform?
Okay, so my background, I played college basketball down in Claremont. Um, then went into, for a number of years, the entertainment industry. So I was down there in Hollywood working in advertising, marketing, promotion for television and movies. Moved up to this beautiful part of the country and got involved in the software training industry. Um, Back down, ran a 40,000 square foot warehouse where my inventory experience comes into play. Um, Ended up here at Overlake. I put three kids through here. All three were high school athletes, two of them college athletes. Um, and this is a great place to be. And the fact that Helmet Tracker is now part of our life here at Overlake is huge.
I'm sure we have some listeners that are familiar with the platform. I mean, I'm aging myself right now. I was pretty much a one-man show as an AD and a head football coach. I was at a number of different independent schools, private schools. We weren't tiny, but I didn't have a big staff like John has there at Overlake. So I remember, and I'm using for our listeners my air quotes, tracking, helmets and all of that. Give some broad brushstrokes. How does the app, how does the platform work? So somebody who might not be familiar with it can understand. And then I'll go to Rich and then maybe John for some other questions.
All right. Well, Helmet Tracker has some great depth. The platform is very nimble to use. There's huge ease of inputting and then tracking your inventory. Again, having spent a number of years tracking tens of thousands of items, the fact that this platform focuses on the athletics area is huge. These guys understand what it means to track all of this equipment, the different reports that you need, the ability to get in and out of the system quickly.
Now, Rich, I'm going to jump back to you. We have again listeners at small schools. Like I said, that one man show, the AD, the head football coach. They might be coaching basketball and baseball too, all the way up to big whatever their state classification is, 6A, 8A schools with thousands and thousands of athletes. How can Helmet Tracker help all of those coaches? I'm assuming you have different levels for different size schools and needs.
Actually, the functionality is very similar, whether regardless of what size you are. We do have smaller schools that would probably have less than 100 students in the school, enrolled in the school, all the way up to some schools that have over 4,000 students enrolled. So you'll see inventory levels of $10,000, $15,000, all the way up to over $1 million, $1.2 million. So $200,000. So it's a wide variety of customers, and so the challenge has been for us is how do you make a platform flexible enough to handle all of those and really simple enough so that so each, because it's all the same problem, it seems like, right? Just a quantity of volume of equipment that you're dealing with or more teams that you're dealing with, but the complexity and the process itself is very similar. So we try to standardize that. And from the beginning, we've been beat up by a lot of high school coaches that says, keep it simple. I don't want to spend my time in your system. I want to spend it on more on the field. So we've tried to design it and build it in a way that it's easy to implement and easy to use. So especially for the coaches.
Again, I've been to your website. I've been familiar with the program for a while since I first heard about it through K12 Sports Tech. But again, for somebody who might be completely new to the platform and all the features, again, using some broad brushstrokes because we want them to go to your website. How is it going to help, Joe or Jane, athletic director or football coach out there? How does it make their life easier?
Well, what we discovered, and this is, I've talked to over 125 or so K12 ADs, and which has been a great experience for us as a vendor to working with all the ADs. There's more of a conversation, not so much a sales pitch. But one of the things we learned is about 4% of those ADs are actually using a system to manage their inventory. And so, and I say a system, I'd say a well-formalized database, a centralized database system. Most people are still using spreadsheets and chasing spreadsheets around. What we find are people, it's just to do a better job. They want to streamline their operations. They're still checking the equipment out and distributing equipment to their athletes and to their to the coaches. So how do you make that easy? How do you streamline that process? And so it's really replacing that current manual process using spreadsheets and then trying to consolidate everybody's spreadsheets into one and for your planning and kind of ordering process. But it's just more of trying to simplify that and streamline the whole process for them.
John, you already mentioned that, Alisha does the boots on the ground for you.
Right.
Taking a global view as the athletic director, how have you seen the platform, make your job easier?
Well, we were certainly one of those schools that I think was spreadsheet bound before Helmet Tracker, and we were looking to build a better mousetrap than that. And we realized that there's a few competitors out there, and we were with a prior one, and we found a lot of shortcomings. And a AD friend of my colleague of mine in our conference had referred us to that company, and we tried it out. And I said, and Alisha seems to love data, which is great because not all of us do. But this is really important data because this means dollars, right? So when we have lost inventory, we're in trouble. If we have coaches that don't turn stuff in correctly, or athletes that don't, or we can't identify certain pieces, that usually winds up in the ledger, unfortunately, on the wrong column. So from my standpoint, I wanted something that we could work with that wasn't taking nothing away from Rich's background, but it wasn't too techy, right? We needed to have something that I could understand from my chair, and at the same time that Alisha could dive in fairly quickly. And what we really, I think, love about it is not only really great product and service, but really the service, the support. Rich, you got great people to work with you, and when they've been much more, and Alicia can talk to it, but they've been much more of a partner with us as opposed to just a company that we're working with. So we've been able to provide a little feedback, and Alicia certainly has been in long conversations about making it better along the way, at least for us. And the results have been fantastic.
Oh, wow. I appreciate you sharing that. Rich, I'm coming back to you in a second, but I guess this is probably for Alicia, but John, I'll let you pipe in too. Um, Describe, the onboarding process. Okay, we're going to go with this, and now, Rich and his team come in to um, actual, wow, this is great. We understand it. The coaches get it. The kids are participating. What happens in that onboarding, and how long did it take to just become seamless? Does that make sense?
I'll give this one to you. Go ahead.
Fair. Um, the thing that took the longest, frankly, was getting the little labels on every single piece of cloth. After that, it was practically like a rocket ship in terms of being able to input items. It was intuitive. The system is intuitive. The onboarding was extremely seamless. There are ways and systems within the system that speed up the process. Um, it is extremely responsive. And the smoothness of the onboarding from the product to the actual training on the product to the intuitive nature of it was huge. We saved hours and hours of time doing this.
I'm going to go one more follow-up question, then Rich, I'm coming to you. Now you mentioned cloth. Obviously, you're tracking helmets. I assume you're tracking uniforms. How many, and you can be a ballpark, how many different, items, athletic department items, are you tracking with the app?
Currently, we're tracking about 1,600. We don't have football, so we're not tracking helmets right now. I'm running a test though with some of our backpacks with one specific team, seeing how that works. We haven't specifically tracked those with an inventory system before. We are now. So far, the test is going great. So we're standing at about 1,600 right now, but that is only a partial number for the fall.
Okay. Well,
There are items that we don't have in there yet.
well, that's 1,600 items that, John or you or, Coach Smith and Coach Jones are no longer tracking that old school way with a clipboard and a check sheet or a computer. All right, Rich, you've heard what John and Alicia have shared about the platform. I want to hear your story. Um, School contacts you on the website, you talk to them, they're sold, you and your team show up, what's going to happen? How quickly do they go from a new school to a using expert school?
Well, it's interesting. It really depends on the school. We've had some schools where they've contacted us on Monday, and by Wednesday they are inventorying their system, their inventory, putting their tags on, doing their work. So it can happen very quickly. Some schools, I would say that some of the larger ones say, we're going to go season by season, and they progressively work over time. So it's just a matter of how many resources they may have available to them, how they choose to track equipment, because you can track equipment by each individual item, or you can track it by quantity based too. So maybe, practice pants or knee pads are a great example. You're not going to sit there and try to put an ID on each one of those. You're just going to say, I gave this student athlete two knee pads and maybe one, pair of practice pants, and by size, whatever. So it really depends. And so we try to manage and help consult with the schools. What are you trying to accomplish, and then how do we best do that? So, coming from a transportation logistics background, we know the physical world has to match the information world and vice versa. So we probably have a little bit more empathy towards that environment. versus a pure software company where, I'm going to give you a chat box to respond to. So, we provide live training, live support, and really try to kind of give that white glove experience to whether you're a small school or a very large school, just because we know ADs and people that are using, are involved with sports, they usually are dealing with time sensitive process where they need something done pretty quickly. So we're just trying to be sensitive to that and have some just work with them and understand that because that's kind of the world we grew up in ourselves. So
Right. I know this is, it's not meant to be a trick question, but you've worked with, big schools, small schools, everything in between. And ultimately, I think it probably comes down to the athletic director's decision. But um, what would you recommend? How involved is each head coach with this tracking system?
well, it really depends on the school. We've always talked about this internally. We'd love to do a personality test sometimes on ADs and people that use our system because the ones that are successful, we can almost tell almost instantly, are they going to be successful at it or not? So we always recommend for the AD to assign someone because ADs are busy, right? They're dealing with 5 or 6 different technologies, maybe more. They're dealing with parents or students or coaches, right? So there's the ADs typically don't have the bandwidth to do it themselves. So they're looking for help to do that. And so we're always suggesting, say, we'll find someone that is probably more detail centric, likes data, like Alisha, and that pays attention to that because it takes a little bit of effort to do it right. Because if you assign it to somebody that's already not a good coach, doesn't pay attention to their spreadsheet, would be the worst person to assign it to. So we're always saying, look for the right person to start with, and then it will grow internally from there, and it will make it easier for the coaches that need help with the technology piece of it.
All right, and that was a very politically correct statement. But I was watching John's expression. You're absolutely right. Just go, oh, geez, Coach Smith is doing this. That's never going to work. Uh, again, the we're going to give out the website and the contact information. Listeners, you need to go to the website. You need to check it out, and you need to reach out to Rich and his team. Talk a little bit about the reach of the platform. You guys are located in Kansas, but you're active nationwide.
Actually, worldwide. So we have schools, American schools, using it in the Middle East, which is kind of interesting. It seems to be like popcorn over there, where we have a bunch of expats or American schools using it in Dubai and Qatar and Abu Dhabi and the embassy, the American school embassy in India and up in Delhi. And so it's interesting to see. It really doesn't, the geographic location really doesn't matter to us because the technology. Being a technology company and having a staff of folks that design technology, we built, I would say, Fortune 500 level technology systems that can scale quite nicely. So it hasn't been an issue for us across the world. So the reach is far. It doesn't.
Right.
People always ask me and say, I think we're in every state. And wherever we land, we tend to spread out from that point. So kind of grow by referral.
Well, in that way, you're just like the podcast. We're heard in all 50 states. We're heard in 128 countries around the world. So I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Alicia, talk about putting people on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot right now. Okay. Could John run this platform if he had to all of a sudden? Okay.
He absolutely could.
Oh,
And I'll tell you why. Again, it is very intuitive. Our associate AD needed to step in and work with the system. He had zero training on it, yet he was able, with a couple of basic instructions, he was able to turn around and check out equipment. He was able to receive equipment back and issue something new while I was out of town. Again, this is without the quality, high quality training that we got from Helmet Tracker. I
right.
mean, I can't say enough about the customer service and training end of it, because even though it is extremely intuitive to use, there
All
are
right.
still going to be questions, right?
All right, John, do you agree with that assessment? Okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
We're so I should probably say we're a high school and a middle school all on the same campus. So we've got, you know, 80%, 85% of our kids play sports here. and you have to understand that a fifth grader's responsibility level is not exactly ready for college, right? So that practice jersey might find its way into a lost and found and those kind of things. Though we teach all these important life lessons, there's just a lot of pieces to maintain for a lot of teams, and Alicia does a great job of trying to get those pieces directly to the kids, which is I don't know how she finds all the time to do it, but to be able to manage all of that and the different needs that the different coaches have in this is great. And she's always telling me I will say, okay, I need an update on Helmet Tracker. Where are we? And she will go on until I cut her off. So it's like, okay, I get it. It's going great. Fantastic. Next, that kind of thing. But it is I worked with a lot of vendors and I have over my getting long career here. And we're really excited about it. I know we've talked to Rich about extending this into more seasons and we did the kind of first fall to find out how it was going to be and we did the ramp up in the summer when we had the time and we're just looking forward to winter and spring now with them. So
Wow, great endorsement. And again, I'm showing my age as somebody who spent many years, as an AD, but also as a football coach. And I was at independent schools too. We had middle school football. Back then, I think the greatest technological advancement was when they finally made the integrated um, football pants for middle school that had the knee pads, the thigh pads, and the hip pads all in there. And you weren't helping a middle school kid put in his girdle pads backwards or something. So this sounds like it's might be a little bit better than that as far as the technological advancement. I like to say things are so easy that even I can use it. Sounds like Helmet Tracker would fall into that category.
And
Let's
Jake,
go in.
just if we can jump in real quick, we
Sure.
do have, and just to let people know, we do have a mobile app that's kind of a companion application for the desktop application. So for coaches that a kid throws them a uniform, or if he finds a uniform or something laying on the ground, he can pick up his phone, scan it, see who it belongs to, and so it makes it easy for coaches to check things in and out without having to drag your computer around too, if you're in that type of situation. So.
Oh, wow. I love that's great. I was already sold, but you sold me again. Let's go and give out the contact information. Rich, let's go and start with you. If somebody wants to find out more, what's the website? How can they get a hold of you to find out more about Helmet Tracker?
Yeah, well, right now it's our name is helmettracker.com. Is a place to start there. We also have another site called equipmentops.com. We are wrestling with our name a little bit, so I think that's going to be changing here sometime in the future, where we're going to do a little bit kind of broaden our I'd say our company name, and then have our various product names being equipment ops for the colleges, equipment essentials for high schools and youth leagues, and then helmet tracker for the reconditioning and the manufacturing communities. So just trying to get that a little bit better organized. We tend to people. It sounds like a lot of ads, or seems like a lot of ads blow right by us when they see helmet tracker, and like in John's case, we don't have football. It's like, well, we do much more than football, right? Football is just one aspect of one sport, but we do all sports, all equipment. So to get a hold of us, it's just you can send it to sales@helmettracker.com, rich@helmettracker.com, or rick@helmettracker.com. We try to get personal names. So if you want to reach out to us directly, feel free. And we'll respond that way. So we're just kind of pretty easy to get a hold of us, or we'll be attending the National Athletic Directors Conference too here in December. So you can
Oh, okay,
reach us there
absolutely. Yeah,
too.
yeah. Make sure you come by the Helmet Tracker or the Football Ops booth at the
Yeah.
NADC in Tampa in December. And we didn't even talk about that much about helmet conditioning. We're gonna have to reconditioning. We're gonna have to get you back on to talk about that. John, we'll get your email, but we know our listeners are going to reach out to Alisha. So, how can they find out more about Overlake School and all the great things you do?
Uh, if they'd like to, it's Wiley, Wiley at overlake.org is my email. I'll help you any way I can. And Alicia?
And I'm happy to talk to people. I could talk to people all day about the product. It is algold@overlake.org.
Okay. And again, listeners, go back and listen to John's interview from season 3. And he's also, his toolbox tips are in the 3rd edition of the Athletic Director's Toolbox. Guess what? There's a 4th edition coming out. It's going to be coming out next month, just in time for the NADC. Rich, Alisha, John, thanks so much for spending some time with our listeners. We know it's a busy time. All the best. And we'll look forward to seeing hopefully all of you in Tampa in December.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rich. Take
Thanks,
care, you
thanks,
guys.
Alisha. Thanks.
All right.
Hey, for our listeners, we want to say thank you to you and remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this segment just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories from the world of athletics along with some best practices on this little segment that we call the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Hey, before we go, we definitely want to say thanks to K12 Sports Tech for sponsoring these vendor spotlights. We also want to thank all of our other great sponsors. Please go and visit these sponsors. I used every single one of them. You should check them out. Let's say thanks to Gipper. That's Gipper.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame. You'll find them at vitalsignswalloffame.com. Sideline Interactive. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Home Campus. You'll find them at homecampus.com. Snap Raise, snapraise.com. Huddle, how about huddle.com. Ohio University, go to their website, check out their online masters in athletic administration. Hometown, you'll find them at hometown.com. And Athletic Surveys, that's athleticsurveys.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.